Luther Smith was my best friend. He was a platoon sergeant, and I was an assistant platoon sergeant.
That's Mike Stubbs. You might remember him from episode 53, Tunnel Rats, Part 1. He served with the Big Red 1 in Vietnam from November of '66 until October of '67, when he was seriously wounded in combat. This part of our conversation, in which he remembers his best friend, Sergeant Luther Smith, didn't make it into that episode. On the morning of October 17, 1967, just 8 days after a bullet wound to the neck took Mike out of the war, Luther was among 64 infantrymen killed at the Battle of Ong Thanh. And ever since he left the Army in 1968, Mike has been trying to find Luther's family. In April of 2001, Mike left the very first remembrance on Luther's page on the Wall of Faces. It reads, "Luther Smith was a true friend. He always had a smile on his face and a great sense of humor. We became friends while serving in Alpha Company and later transferring to Delta Company. We never called each other by name. We always called each other Bubba. Luther was an excellent leader. I miss him every day and hope to see him again someday. To his family members, Luther was a true hero and would do anything for a friend. I'm proud to have known him." During our interview, I mentioned to Mike that there is another remembrance on Luther's page dated October 2019 from Luther's daughter, Nina Smith. It reads, "I was 5 when you were taken from me. I still remember my time with you. I love you, Daddy, and I miss you still today. I do my best caring for Mom and keeping the family together. I've made a few mistakes in life, but overall, I pray that I've made you proud." Mike hadn't been back to Luther's Wall of Faces page since leaving his remembrance there more than 18 years earlier, so he had no idea that Luther's daughter Nina had identified herself there. We immediately started trying to figure out how to find Nina.
So it was 4 years ago, a little less than 4 years ago, that Nina posted this remembrance on Luther's Wall of Faces. So let's see. There's 95 Nina Smiths in Florida.
That's amazing. She was 5 years old whenever he passed. She's have a married name now, so, you know.
Yeah, that's also possible. Although 4 years ago she didn't. Yeah, I'm not having much luck with this, but I'm willing to put a little more time into it.
Well, as it turns out, I didn't have to put much more time into it. When I told my boss Heidi that I was trying to track Nina down, she told me that VVMF has a verification email address for everyone who leaves a remembrance on the Wall of Faces. We just don't publish them. And we didn't know whether Nina's email address was still in use, and even if it was, we didn't know whether she would agree to be connected to Mike Stubbs, a total stranger. But we knew we had to find out. In this postscript, we'll share with you the first ever live conversation between Nina Smith, the daughter of a soldier killed in action more than 55 years ago, and that soldier's best friend, a man who might have died at Luther's side had he not been in Japan being treated for a bullet wound of his own. Stick around. Nina Smith joined Mike Stubbs and me on a Zoom call from her home in Pensacola, Florida. I didn't realize it at the time, but this was the first time they had spoken to each other. All of their previous contact had been through email.
I am the first daughter of my dad, Luther. He had 3 girls. The other one's name was Akita and Reba. We grew up in Pensacola, Florida. I don't go on Facebook a lot, but I happened to go on there and I saw it and I just clicked into it.
So you're talking about the Wall of Faces?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you didn't even know that existed?
No.
So you found the Wall of Faces by accident looking at Facebook?
It found me.
It found you. I don't understand. What do you mean?
I didn't go looking for it. I just went on to Facebook and I seen it and I just clicked in it.
I see. And you found your father?
Yes, I saw a few where people had commented. I didn't really understand what I was in, but I just left a comment myself. And I thought that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how old were you when your father was killed?
I was 5.
5 years old. Do you have memories of him from before he went to Vietnam?
Yeah.
Can you share some of those?
I guess I have memories because I was more of the daddy's girl. Akita, she was, I guess, as a kid, because he was so big, scared of him. But I was a daddy's girl. She was a mom's girl. So I remember being stationed somewhere in Columbus. We stayed in base housing. I remember on Sunday, he liked to take us riding every Sunday. He had a German Shepherd named.
When you say riding, you mean just out for a Sunday drive, or do you mean
just
like
out for a Sunday drive every Sunday? And I used to like to sit in the front seat next to him. Back then, you could without a seatbelt. And but I would get car sick each time. I still get car sick today. I don't remember him leaving, but I remember the Jeep pulling up to the house. 2 men went in the house. We was all outside playing, and then they left. And then we went inside to I guess be nosy, and everybody in the house was crying. They never told us what was going on. I just remember my mama crying. So I guess I really just didn't really understand it until he just didn't come back. And I guess when I did realize it, honestly, I was kind of, I guess as a kid, angry because he was, like I said, I was a daddy's girl. I loved my mom, but it was Keita closer to my mom than me. So I guess a part of me just left. My mom was 8 months pregnant with Reba.
Wow.
Yeah, so Reba, all she knew about my dad is pictures and anything that we've told her.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
what's your mother's name, Nina?
Lizzie Smith. She never remarried.
And so Lizzie probably just didn't know how to tell you, and she probably didn't think that you could process it.
I think she didn't know how to tell us. I don't think my mama really processed it herself, really. He was good to my mom. It was a loving family. So I think my mom took it real hard. I know she loved us. She was there, but I just like with me, I think something left with her as well. My mom just really never talked to us at all. I dug around in her room, in her closet. She had this box, and it had letters from him, and we even found letters that we wrote to him. All his medals, I have those. The flag, I have that. I've always searched to know about him.
Do you remember how old you were when that curiosity first started to take root?
I think I must have been around 12, 13. Like I said, I've been trying to find out about him, about that life for a long time, and just getting bits and pieces. And then, like I said, the internet gave us a lot. I have a friend now, he's aware of our situation, and he even sent a link that I forget what it's called. Someone was doing an interview, and it showed that him in the helicopter, happy.
So, Mike, do you have any stories or just observations or memories that you can share that would shed a light on what kind of man Luther was, and what was it about him that drew you to him, that made you guys so close?
He was just easygoing. He was one of those kind of persons. He didn't have an enemy. A lot of the guys, they would go talk to him about things, but we just clicked. I mean, like I said, we were an Alpha company together, same platoon, what we call the hillbilly platoon, and it was just incredible.
You said there was quite an age difference between you.
Yeah, there was 14 years difference. I was 20, Luther was 34, and he was just, I called him a Southern gentleman. The thing about Luther, he didn't have any, he never made an enemy. He would listen to people, and he had an easygoing about himself. Luther, one time he looked at me and said, "Okay, Bubba." I said, "Bubba." I'd never really heard the name Bubba. And that told me right there, Luther's from the South. I knew right then when he said Bubba, he was from the South. And I'm from North Carolina. We just, next thing I knew, we're calling each other Bubba. Nobody else was Bubba.
Right.
He never called anybody else Bubba. I never called anybody else Bubba. And to this day, I've actually met people who, went by the nickname Bubba. And I told them real quick, "I'm sorry, what is your name?" And they said, "Bubba." I said, "No, I will not call you that. I refuse to call you that." And then I would explain it to them. Said, "There'll never be another Bubba in my life." And it just, he was a mellow. He knew how to mellow with people. He knew how to mesh with people, and he knew how to get the job done. That was the main thing.
I know you don't know Nina very well, but as you sit here and look at her face and listen to her talk, what about her, if anything, reminds you of Luther?
Her smile. And this is the way she is right now. That's how you could talk to him. I mean, he never met a stranger. That was one thing about your dad. He never met a stranger. And you look more like your dad and your mom, I can guarantee you. Am I right?
I think so.
Yeah, you do. I do. I see your dad in you, and you have his disposition. You're friendly like he is. Your smile. You're outgoing like your dad was. I feel like I've known Nina for a long time. She and I
know.
We've talked. We've exchanged a lot of pictures and text messages and things like that. And I just hope her family knows how much I love her dad. I mean, he's a brother to me, and I miss him. I miss him till the day I die. I will miss him. I mean, he was. Out of everybody that I know that I lost in Vietnam, he's the one that I searched for. Nina, anytime you want to talk, you've got my phone number. You're more than welcome to call me. And I mean, if I get thinking about your dad, I may even give you a call because I do think about him a lot.
Well, I sure do appreciate you both. And like I said, I could talk for days and I could listen. So if you ever want to reach out, just give me a call.
We're so pleased that we could help Mike and Nina connect with each other. I imagine they'll stay in touch, don't you? You can learn more about the Battle of Ong Thanh by searching for it on YouTube or Wikipedia, or by reading David Moranis' book, They Marched into Sunlight. Ong Thanh is spelled ONGTHANH. If you have trouble finding any of those resources, just email echoes@vvmf.org, and we'll send you the links directly. We'll be back next week with another full episode. We'll see you then.